Hello, good evening. Today, the 27th of April, 2024. To present Camnet Television News, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. The top stories in the news tonight: a 31-year-old man axes his wife to death for seeking divorce. PF slams government's debt restructuring deal as a hoax and political gimmick. LUSAKA seniors pay tribute to KAUNDA'S enduring legacy. In international news, campaigning in Togo ends Sunday ahead of legislative and regional elections. And in sports news, FARS urges national team to qualify for World Cup 2026 to pay tribute to Gabon disaster heroes. These are more stories coming up shortly after the break.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Hello again, another news in detail. Some senior citizens in Lusaka have urged the government to emulate Zambia's founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, in fostering unity in the country, despite having different political aspirations and tribes. In an interview with Camnet News, Lamek Chishimba says government and opposition political parties should seek dialogue and offer practical solutions to the current challenges the country is facing, as opposed to politicking issues that need urgent attention. He adds that government should, like Dr. Kaunda, ensure that key economic sectors such as the mines and agriculture are fully utilized to spearhead the country's economic development. Meanwhile, Person Diapa has urged the country to embrace the One Zambia, One Nation motto so as to unify the country. Today, 28th April 2024, is late former Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's centenary birthday. Here's a report.
On 24th October 1964, Zambia gained its independence with Dr. Kenneth Kaunda becoming the country's first president. Since this development, Zambia's economic trajectory was one to admire, as citizens could afford to buy their needs and wants with little or no struggle at all, as the purchasing power of money then was strong. Among other great strides the country was making was the full utilization of the country's key economic sectors such as the mines and agriculture. This utilization propelled the country to economic growth ranging from infrastructure development projects, stable exchange rate and an affordable cost of living, which ultimately significantly improved the lives of many citizens. However, in recent years, the country has been subjected to quite a number of challenges in many countries, such as the economy, governance, and politics, among others, which have adversely affected the welfare of Zambian citizens. In celebrating former Republican President and Zambia's founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's centenary birthday, Lamek Chishimba, a senior citizen, has lamented the disunity in the country necessitated by different political aspirations. Mr. Chishimba has further called on government to emulate Dr. Kaunda in fostering unity in the country despite various differences.
He tried to lead the country with a socialist conscience, although he never opted for full socialism, but it was a mixture of socialism and capitalism. So life was nice. I think even in the present day administration, if the leaders can not neglect the social side of life, then everything will be all right for the masses. Because if you neglect the social side of life, the people will suffer so much and they will have nowhere.
Meanwhile, Patson Yapa, another senior citizen, has urged the country to continue to live by the One Zambia, One Nation motto, irrespective of the different tribes in the country.
Kaunda was there to unite the country, not to divide the country. Even the administration of today, the government of today, should learn from Kaunda, the heart of one love. Kaunda never hated anyone, even if it was one party, but still Kaunda would give everybody a chance to speak. Kaunda was never like a dictator or what, but this government today, they must also learn from Kaunda how he used to unite people, even the national team, how it used to play, because he used to play for the love of soccer, not for money. today it's all about money.
In times of KK, Zambia used to be on the good, the economy was good.
Today, Sunday, 28 April 2024, is former Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's Senatory birthday, which could have seen him turn 100 years old. Chandamango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
A 31-year-old man of Lavishimanda district in Muchinga province has axed his wife to death for trying to divorce him. Police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale says the suspect, identified as Kennedy Kabwe, axed his wife Ida Mtale at the back of her neck while she was having lunch with her two children aged 8 and 3. Police investigations indicate that the murder occurred after the deceased suggested that they dissolve their marriage after a marital dispute and misunderstanding. Meanwhile, a 26-year-old man in Chifunabuli district of Luapula province has been arrested for allegedly murdering his wife.
A 31-year-old man of Lavishimanda district in Muchinga province has axed his wife to death for trying to divorce him. The 27-year-old woman, identified as Ida Mutale, was axed at the back of her neck while she was having lunch with her two children aged 8 and 3. She sustained a fatal deep cut. Police investigations indicate that the deceased had marital disputes and misunderstandings with her husband, identified as Kennedy Kabwe, in their 1-year-old marriage. As a result, she suggested to the husband that they should dissolve the marriage. On April 26, 2024, the couple is alleged to have had the usual marital disputes, which made the wife to tell her father to return the dowry so that the marriage can be ended. Her father promised to give back the dowry today, Sunday, April 28, 2024. On Saturday, April 27, 2024, around 13 hours, while she was eating shima with her two children, her husband asked her if she still maintained the decision of ending the marriage, to which she responded positively. It is alleged that Mr. Kabwe immediately got an axe and hacked the wife on the back of the neck and ran away. The 8-year-old child quickly informed her grandfather about the incident, who later alerted police officers at Lavishimanda police post. Police officers rushed to the scene and found the victim lying in a pool of blood outside the house. She was rushed to Mpumba Mini Hospital, where she was pronounced dead upon arrival. Her body was deposited in the same hospital mortuary waiting for post-mortem examination. An axe and a knife were found at the scene of crime. A manhunt for the suspect has been launched. Police in Chifunabuli district of Luapula province have arrested a 26-year-old man for murdering his wife. Raquel Chanda, aged 28, was on April 26, 2024, around 22 hours, beaten by the husband, identified as Nicholas Wadia. She sustained general body pains and was admitted to Mwewa Clinic. She died on April 27, 2024, around 18 hours. Police investigations revealed that on April 26, 2024, around 21:30 hours, Mr. Wadia, after a quarrel, fought with the wife in the presence of their 7-year-old son. As they were fighting, their son rushed to call the grandmother within the same village so that she could separate them. The grandmother and the boy found Rachel lying unconscious on the ground outside the house while her husband had run away. She was immediately taken to Mwewa Clinic, where she was admitted. Fits and kicks are believed to have been used to inflict injuries. On April 27, 2024, her condition is said to have deteriorated, and around 09 hours, she was referred to Lubwe Mission Hospital, where she died around 18 hours. Police were alerted and instituted investigations, leading to the arrest of the suspect. He is currently detained in custody, waiting to be formally charged, while the body of his wife is in the Mission Hospital mortuary, waiting for post-mortem examination.
A Lusaka-based medical doctor has called on government to expedite the process of legalizing the cultivation and sale of cannabis for medicinal use. Dr. Teddy Mulenga observes that it is retrogressive that to date the country lacks a legal framework on the cultivation and sale of cannabis despite the medicinal and forex earning capabilities it has. But opposition Green Party President Peter Sinkamba has challenged government to implement the Cannabis Act number 33 and Industrial Hemp Act number 34 of 2021, arguing that imprisoning people allegedly involved in the business at government's reluctance to implement laws is not progressive. Details in this report.
Among various natural things that grow on the ground is cannabis, commonly known as chamba or dobo, which wears two hats, the good and the bad. In Zambia, it is considered the major contributor to substance abuse problems evidenced in the abuse of the plant. Currently, despite having laws such as the Cannabis Act number 33 and the Industrial Hemp Act number 34 of 2021, under the Zambian law, marijuana or cannabis is classified as a dangerous drug and is illegal to possess, as it is punishable by a fine or a prison sentence. In December 2019, Zambia legalized the cultivation, production and export of cannabis for medicinal and research purposes. This decision was motivated by the potential economic benefits the cannabis industry brings to the country. However, to date, no cultivation licenses have been issued. Recently, 3.8 tons of cannabis were destroyed by the Drug Enforcement Commission after it was seized, a situation which opposition Green Party President Peter Sinkamba has regretted. He challenges the government to urgently operationalize the Cannabis Act number 33 and the Industrial Hemp Act number 34 of 2021 so that the country can earn money and serve other medicinal purposes.
Because of cultivation of cannabis, which you call illegal, simply because you don't want to implement those laws which were enacted by the people to ensure that these people are able to cultivate cannabis and sell it and make money. I mean, where is the Senate to start banning 3.8 tons of cannabis instead of using that cannabis for medicinal purposes to try and heal our people, to try and make money for this country? I think this is ridiculous. Can the UPND government move for once from this notion of wanting to implement laws which only benefit themselves instead of those that benefit the entire nation? Can you please now, without wasting further time, can operationalize the Cannabis Act and the industry?
Meanwhile, a medical doctor says legalizing the cultivation and sale of cannabis for medicinal purpose is key to ensuring certain health issues are treated locally without difficulties. Dr. Teddy Mulenga argues that once legalized, guidelines will be served out to people on how the cultivation and sale of cannabis should be conducted by those that are legalized, unlike continuing to destroy them when there is a market Zambia can take advantage of.
You can use marijuana. Apart from using it in manufacturing of parts, car parts, aeroplane parts. So, we need to legalize and decriminalize marijuana. We need to change the laws surrounding marijuana, even use or availability around people. It is important to keep up with the science. So a lot of things have changed. We shouldn't remain behind. There are many countries, more than 25 states in USA, have legalized marijuana. Holland, marijuana is legalized. It's not an offense to be found with marijuana. Denmark and other countries. So we should keep up with modern, scientific thinking.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The opposition Patriotic Front has described the recent debt restructuring deal by government with its creditors as a hoax, alleging that it has no power to turn around the country's economy. Party Media Director Edwin Lifwekelo argues that the debt restructuring is a political gimmick which does not respond to the needs of the people. He questions the effectiveness of the debt restructuring, citing the cost of living as increasing, and has challenged government to provide clear strategies that respond to the needs of the electorates.
Just to be on record that this debt restructuring is a hoax. This debt restructuring is just basically a political gimmick by individuals. Yes, behind the scenes, yes, we are aware that discussions have been made with cooperating partners to ensure that debt is sustained, to ensure that government is given leverage to be able to breathe and be able to pay. All what we have done as Zambians, hear me well, all we have done is to defer payment of whatever that we owe to our cooperating partners to the next 20 years. And who is going to suffer in the next 20 years? Our children's children, our generation, our grandchildren are the ones that are earmarked to pay this debt. So all this, what this government has done is to run away from responsibility of ensuring that they pay this debt restructuring, they pay the money that is owed to other countries, despite the fact that yes, this debt was accumulated by governments that have been there before, PF, MMD, who were in office before. This debt is not new, it has been there, it has just been accumulating. PF found it as well, and it has accumulated. Even now as we are speaking, the UPND government have also accumulated another debt as compared to what they found there. So this debt is a fallacy. What Zambians want to see ideally is to see this debt translate into cheaper meal. This debt must translate into cheaper fuel. This debt must translate into cheaper electricity. Without those economic fundamentals being put in place, I would tell you that this debt is just basically talk, nothing else but talk.
Some stakeholders have expressed mixed views on the intentions by the Anti-Corruption Commission, SEC, to extend the annual declaration of assets and liabilities by public office bearers. Transparency International Zambia explains that while the move is commendable, it is important to reintroduce lifestyle audits, which should be extended to constitutional office bearers and private sector players if the fight against corruption is to be effective. Organization Executive Director Raymond Mutale argues that currently there is no monitoring mechanisms for the SEC to effectively detect corruption in many forms, hence introducing a lifestyle audit is key as it encompasses everything. Meanwhile, Opposition Economic Front leader Winter Kabimba observes that Zambia lacks special tools to combat corruption and believes even if the law is to be introduced, it will not be effective due to the same mode of fighting corruption which has been inherited. Details in this report.
Zambia, like many other countries in the world, has continued to battle a cancer that puts a risk to the upcoming generations. Corruption is a common phrase the Zambian society relates to. This is not just a Zambian issue. Corruption happens around the world. It is like a hidden tax where money meant for schools or hospitals end up lining someone's pockets. While corruption may not happen at the point the eye is able to meet, recently the Anti-Corruption Commission announced plans to have public office bearers also declare assets and liabilities as one of the measures to fight corruption in the country. But Transparency International Zambia, who champion corruption, propose the need to go the life audit way, as it will provide an ability for public office bearers to account for their earnings when in office and out of office.
Can we have a comprehensive mechanism that covers everything? Because you know that members of parliament, they make their declaration at parliament. Presidential candidates, they make their declaration to Electoral Commission of Zambia. Minister, you see, so when you have multiple mechanisms, it brings confusion because the provisions are different. So what we want is a comprehensive lifestyle audit that will ensure that we comprehensively monitor everyone that has a bearing on the management of public resources, but also allow people to have access to this information to monitor and verify what is being declared.
Meanwhile, the Opposition Economic Front observed that Zambia lacks special tools to combat corruption and wonder how the law will be enforced when the existing ones have proved to be a challenge. Party President Winter Kabimba explains that a law can be put in place but cannot enforce itself, further describing the country's fight against corruption as a joke because the model is the same since independence.
So one of the weaknesses that I see myself now is lack of comprehensive training of tools that can help our investigating agencies to fight corruption. They are doing it the way it has been done in the past. And once you approach problems like it has been done like this in the past, and you are not prepared to break rank and break new ground, to resolve a problem, you will not succeed. And I don't see UPND succeeding in this fight against corruption.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, has urged union leaders across the country to ensure that the private sector in the country adheres to the labor laws to bring sanity into the workspace. In an interview with Camnet News, ZCTU President Blake Mulala observes that the private sector has disregarded the country's labor laws, especially on informal employees who are subjected to work without personal protective equipment, even in dangerous workspaces such as the mines. He adds that various labor unions across the country should keep guard of employers who compromise the provisions of the law and report them to the Ministry of Labor. Mr. Mulala has further cautioned employers to desist from not issuing contracts to workers who have been working in their respective companies for years. Here's a report.
Our labor laws are not respected, and this is something which is very, very, very surprising to us. And I want to appeal to union leaders across the country. We are elected by the membership and given the responsibility to hold offices which we have. And this responsibility, it makes us that we must be visible. We want union leaders to be visible. We should not wait for the Ministry of Labor. While yes, they have the powers, they have the law to go and carry out inspection. But most of the revelations which are coming from the inspections which are done by the Ministry of Labor, I think in one vein, it puts the blame on the trade unions leader, the trade union or the labor movement not being available. What is preoccupying us if it's not the agenda to serve the interests of the members whom we serve? We cannot be having employers today failing to provide safety PPEs, protective clothing to workers. We cannot be having mines being open today where the workers are going underground with no protective clothing. We should not allow that. But we are saying these things only when the ministry goes out to carry out an inspection, and then we become reactive. We want to urge all the unions, union leadership, especially those falling under the Zambia Congress of Trade Unions. Let's work.
Government has revealed that it will soon begin legalizing environmental experts in line with the Environmental Management Act of 2023 in a bid to promote professionalism. Speaking during the launch of a 3-year project from 2024 to 2026, dubbed Strengthening the Respect for Environmental Rights in Zambia, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment, Dauti Chibamba, says regulation of environmental experts is so because some people that provide environmental consultancy services do not qualify. Dr. Chibamba, however, says government has opened up to all stakeholders to monitor the progress of implementing the Environmental Sustainability Cluster in line with the 8th National Development Plan. Meanwhile, European Union EU Head of Cooperation Claudio Bassigalupi says it is government's responsibility to protect citizens from environmental exploitation by corporations and ensure that victims of environmental violations are adequately compensated.
In the revised law, we are also going to regulate environmental experts. One of the reasons why we've had a lot of environmental violations is that some of the people who provide environmental consultants services are actually not qualified to do the job. That has had 2 major issues from our side. One, the quality of environmental project briefs that they submit are very low standard. That makes it very difficult for the regulator, ZEMA, to assess those projects and give feedback in time. So you have a lot of back and forth. You go and correct this and they resubmit. So to avoid that, we want to regulate environmental experts. Secondly, we want the fees that these experts will be charging the would-be developers to be reasonable.
The government has the responsibility to put in place laws, policies, and practices to prevent, investigate, prosecute human rights abuses associated with businesses' operations, to set clear expectations for businesses to respect human rights and make sure that victims of human rights violations are provided with effective access to redress and compensation. Against this background, it's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here representing the European Union at today's launch ceremony of the European Union-funded project strengthening the respect for environmental rights in Zambia. A safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment is a prerequisite to the full enjoyment of a wide range of human rights.
We'll take a break. Join us for more news shortly after the break.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palabana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Former Minister of Defense Richard Siamunene has urged citizens to be wary of the leaders they put in influential positions to avoid being negatively impacted in the long run. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Siamunene, who is also a mindset change activist, notes that the country's economic outlook is in decline despite having vast lucrative minerals because of some unscrupulous leaders amassing wealth at the expense of the Zambians. He adds that going forward, Zambians should assess the type of leaders they elect to curb the unprecedented levels of corruption in the country, which is detrimental to the country's growth.
Realizing that the money that the responsibility that have been given, it's on behalf of the Zambian people. As a result, the accumulation of wealth for themselves is a serious crime against God. Okay? When you're against people, you're against God. So that is what I'm saying, that those who are given the responsibility going forward, they should avoid accumulating wealth for themselves. They must know that the money that is there belongs to all Zambians, and we must make sure that all Zambians benefit. So that is the only way we can develop this country. with selfishness will be a laughingstock in the whole world, because people outside there, they know that Zambians are selfish, so you can take advantage of them so that they benefit themselves, those who are outside. They know us, they have studied us. But if we Zambians and say, look, enough is enough, and here we shall, everything that will be produced in Zambia, it belongs to Zambia, and as such it must be applied in that manner. Then those who are coming to invest, who are coming, they will know that if you are going to Zambia, you must do the correct thing.
Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata has continued his tour of Constituency Development Fund CDF projects in Luapula Province. Mr. Kapata has toured Kabondo Primary School in Bahati constituency of Mansa District, the school that has been constructed using the Constituency Development Fund CDF. More in the following report.
This is Kabondo Primary School. The school before the introduction of the increased Constituency Development Fund was non-existent, making children in the community to walk long distances to access education. Thank you to the Constituency Development Fund, the community now has a school that also boasts of modern infrastructure. These are the works that Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata wants to appreciate while in Luapula Province. Mr. Kapata has checked the works at the first ever primary school here that has been constructed at a cost of 1.4 million kwacha.
Government appreciates, obviously, the utilization of CDF here, and so government will always encourage also schools management to integrate those young ones, especially the girl child that abandoned school as a result of pregnancies. There should be one way of integrating them back into schools. The President has indicated that this is not the end of migrating CDF. Very soon we'll be hearing a Parliament or the President making pronouncements with regard to CDF beyond 30.6.
The local authority and the district administration in Mansa are optimistic that children in the area will now be able to access quality education through the newly constructed modern school.
These are modern structures at this place, which used to be a village, but now with this infrastructure, we are assured that the children in this community are going to benefit through quality education.
Previously, children used to walk long distances to go to access education. We are talking about CDF being increased, as at now we are saying 30 is now 30.6 million, of which it's now us taking up the task to make sure that we bring development to every community, not leaving any child behind.
Community members at Kabondo are happy that the coming of the school in the area will reduce on the distance that children used to cover to access education.
Pachintu ekyo batupitira bantu kuno kuli Kabondo twayigala emyaka eyingi sana leero tatwamulapo ekyo batuleetera wakati ka buteeko ubulipo ubutuutu bwalapo wakati k'abaana beesu bantu abaana beesu bayigala ekitayitali sana leero tabakwata kukwakuluna.
Betre Bakatebe reporting for Zanis News in Mansa District in Luapula Province.
President Hakainde Hichilema has hailed the late first president of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, for his numerous contributions to the liberation and development of the country. The president says that Dr. Kaunda had a great heart for the people of Zambia and his work should be emulated by many. And speaking in his welcoming remarks, Muchinga Province Minister Henry Sekazwe says Dr. Kenneth Kaunda and other freedom fighters provided the firm foundation through their vision and leadership to liberate the country from colonial rule. We'll take our second and final break. We'll be back with international sports news shortly.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 2040 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 1910.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
And now in foreign news, campaigning in Togo ends on Sunday as the country prepares to go to the polls on Monday to elect lawmakers and the country's first regional representatives. The polls come against the backdrop of heightened political tension since the approval in April of a divisive new constitution and a series of crackdowns on opposition protests. Critics say it paves the way for President Faure Gnassingbe to further extend his family's decades-long grip on power. The president's ruling Union for the Republic Party, however, says the new system is more democratic and representative. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Campaigning in Togo ends on Sunday, as over 4 million people prepare to go to the polls on Monday to elect lawmakers and the country's first regional representatives. Regional and municipal councillors will then be responsible for electing senators, allowing the start of an upper house of parliament, although the exact number of people is yet to be determined. The polls come against the backdrop of heightened political tension in Togo since the approval in April of a divisive new constitution. Critics say it paves the way for President Faure Gnassingbe to further extend his family's decades-long grip on power. But the president's ruling Union for the Republic Party says the new system is more democratic and representative. After boycotting the last election, opposition parties will take part in Monday's vote, rallying their supporters to challenge the ruling party. The United Nations Security Council has sounded the alarm over reports of an imminent attack on the last remaining city in Sudan's North Darfur region that is not under the control of the Rapid Support Forces. Fighting over the past year between the paramilitary group and the country's military has seen tens of thousands of people die and more than 8 million people displaced across the nation. As the UN expressed its deep concern, calling on the warring parties to take steps to de-escalate the situation, local media in Sudan were reporting that a full-scale attack on the city of El Fasher was already underway. Humanitarian workers have said the world must act swiftly to prevent a potential genocide in the region, with hundreds of thousands of internally displaced people having sought refuge in the city. As the RSF and its allies fought their way through Darfur region's other federal states, they were accused of a campaign of ethnically driven killings against non-Arab groups. The people of Haiti have had enough. Just days after a transitional presidential council was installed, formalizing the resignation of former Prime Minister Ariel Henry, their list of demands is growing rapidly. Haitians want security, food, jobs, and they want them now. The first thing the Presidential Council must do is look into the security problem. Insecurity has made this country unlivable. We're going crazy, running everywhere and nowhere to go. After security, they need to resolve the hunger. People are living in misery. Misery is destroying the population. Look at all the trash over there. I hope to see them come together to restore security so that the country becomes functional. That is what I want to see. More than 2,500 people were killed or injured from January to March alone. Well, it's insecurity that brought us to where we are today. A country without security is a country where we cannot do anything. The 9-member council acknowledges the challenges it faces and says it will vote for the country's next president on Tuesday.
And in sports news tonight, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has urged the Zambia national football team to honor their colleagues lost in the Gabon aircraft disaster by qualifying to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Speaking during the Gabon Memorial Commemoration at Heroes Stadium, FAZ President Andrew Kamanga says the World Cup was among the notable pursuits of the former Chipolo Polo team, and as such, the current national team qualifying to the biggest event in football would be a great way of paying tribute to them. He adds that the association is also in talks with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts to create a museum to befittingly honor the former national team. Today, Sunday, 28th of April 2024, marks 31 years since the former Chipolo Polo national team died in the Gabon aircraft disaster in 1993. More in this report.
On the evening of 28th April 1993, the Zambia national team then, while being ferried to a FIFA World Cup qualifier match against Senegal, were involved in an aircraft disaster which saw all the 25 national team players, including 5 staff members, die in the crash in Gabon. Today, Sunday 28th April 2024, marks exactly 31 years since the country lost the gallant men of football in Zambia. In commemorating their 31st anniversary, the Football Association of Zambia, during a memorial service, challenged the current national team to honor their legacy by way of qualifying to the 2026 World Cup. First President Andrew Kamanga noted that the World Cup was among the team's notable pursuits, and as such, it is incumbent upon the current national team to actualize their short-lived aspiration.
These gallant men died whilst pursuing Zambia's debut World Cup appearance dream. They were within 4 matches of making that dream a reality. Today, 31 years later, we are still chasing that dream as a nation. In a small way, part of the aspirations were met when Zambia won the 2012 Africa Cup in Gabon. It was a befitting tribute for these gallant men. However, their World Cup qualification dream remains unfulfilled. It is a duty for all of us who remain alive today to honor them fully by qualifying to the next FIFA World Cup, which will be held in United States of America, Canada, and Mexico in 2026.
Mr. Kamanga says that despite the loss of the gallant men, the stricken 31 years has eventually turned into a celebration, reminding the nation of the joyful moments that the fallen heroes brought to the country. He adds that the association is in talks with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts to actualize plans of building a museum to honor the gallant men of football.
On behalf of us, as we set up the foundation, we hope that we will find space within that foundation to accommodate whatever we can do for the gallant men who lost their lives in this Gabon disaster. May I end by thanking all of you for coming here to celebrate our heroes. As you are all aware, government did event, the official commemoration will be held every 5 years with the families and other stakeholders free to commit one of those occasions where it's not an official gathering by the government, but like always, we have to come and be with you.
Family representative of the 31 families lost in the crash thanked the country for not letting the legacy of the national team die.
You can see it's a solid mood, but we are no longer crying. It's a time for us to celebrate. Even as we come here, this place looks very nice. I hope you notice, because 80 years down the line, this place has been neglected. Even as you come, I want to say even as you as children, I always make this place look very interesting. Even as we celebrate our lives, I just want to encourage encourage everyone that we can as well pray for the national team to say they can as well bring the World Cup to Zambia, because the people that are lying there, that was their goal. They wanted to bring the World Cup to Zambia.
Mr. Kamanga, in honoring the team, also took time to lay wreaths on the tombs of everyone who was involved in the aircraft. Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
To end Camnet Television main news, the top stories once again. A 31-year-old man axed his wife to death for seeking divorce. PF slams government's debt restructuring deal as a hoax and political gimmick. Lusaka seniors pay tribute to KAUNDA'S enduring legacy. In international news, campaigning in Togo ends Sunday ahead of legislative and regional elections. And in sports news, FAS urges national team to qualify for World Cup 2026 to pay tribute to Gabon disaster heroes. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Psalms 56 verse 3. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Thank you for watching Camnet Television main news. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.